Well, good morning and welcome to your most authoritative and authentic political show in the country. Good morning, Africa. We're coming to you from our studios in Abilinkwe 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. We're live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. You can share the Facebook Live post as many times as you can so other people get the opportunity to watch today's edition of the morning show. We're also live on YouTube at Pan-African Television. You can connect with us via WhatsApp stroke text line on 0260846539, 0260846539. You can as well leave your suggestions, questions, and whatnot on our social media pages. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. My name is Justice Appiah, and without taking much time, I'll take you through the topics we are going to be discussing. Then I introduce my guests for the discussion this morning. First on the list, security stepped up as Uganda counts votes. Daily graphic story on page 5. Ghana is broke, needs 5 billion stimulus injection to survive. The inside newspaper story on page 3. NDC's election petition. Supreme Court orders live coverage as it grants Mahama's motion. Ghanaian Times story on page 15. And then finally, we'll be looking at NDC MPP lock horns over majority status as Parliament sits today. Republic Press story on well, the page has not been indicated. I've been joined in the studio by Bernard Ambataila Mona, former chairman for PNC. Good morning, my senior brother.
Good morning, boss.
I hope you're fine. It's been a while.
Yes.
I'm sure the viewers have missed you.
So much.
That much I cannot tell.
Well, the messages will start pouring in and they'll tell you, I know that they really missed you because they've been asking of you anyway.
I've been in Sankana for a while. I came back on the 4th. And then I have to go back for a few things. So after the elections, I needed to stay around to particularly console my team for the loss, and also to reflect on a number of issues. Of course, I took advantage to mingle with so many people, particularly my most favorite group of people, the kids.
Okay.
Where we had an event in the house on the 3rd of January. And beyond the fact that we wanted kids, we assembled about 400 kids. It turned out to be an adults party. But all the same, it was good.
I watched on social media.
It was good to have the kids.
Yeah.
We were overwhelmed by the teeming love that many people showed, particularly parents who delivered their kids to come and participate in that event. So I am honored. Within the period, of course, I also went to Bimobalan.
Okay.
In fact, I had Christmas in Bimobalan. And I was in Pipra.
Pipra. I think I was there. Yeah. I know Pipra.
Yes. You are one of the people that on counts like this I can rely on.
Exactly.
And so we also had occasion with the kids as well. We walked from the Nabada Zulu Palace to the Queen Mother's Palace. We went to the lorry station with the kids. It was an amazing exercise to engage with kids below 10 years of age. And so for me, the period has been very good. I need to commend a number of people. I don't know whether some of them would like their names mentioned. But after this traumatic period, particularly after the elections, a number of people called. The Daniel family, they were very, very supportive. Only to some extent, they virtually would want to offer everything to ensure that life was okay. ABF Hussein in particular. I'm sure that there are things I cannot say publicly, but I could feel that he was with me throughout this exercise. Kwame Owusu-Danso, for the money that he gave back, which was not sufficient, he did a lot of good. Of course, you tried a number of times, you couldn't reach me. I can't count the number of people who did support me, but there were many, some in public service who would not want me to mention their names, both in the Upper West region and outside of the Upper West region, some outside of the country. So I want to sincerely thank everybody.
All right.
And in particular, my family. When this morning I told them I was coming to Pan-Africa TV, I could feel a sense of uneasiness. But like, you are coming to do your thing again. They said, you are coming to do your thing again. I said, which thing? They said, I thought you would stop doing these things. But you see, you can't stop.
Exactly.
You can't stop because you just feel a duty to do some things, and that is why I have to come.
All right.
I'm not feeling too good today, as you already know.
Yes.
But I thought that if I don't come, you will say, I just don't want to show up on television, and so I decided to honor you. So I want to thank all of you, Appiah,
all right,
for all the encouragement.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming, Chairman. We are always with you, and you always have our support. You know that me in particular, I'll always be at your service anytime you call me. Also in the studio is the Member of Parliament for Sagnarigu constituency, Honorable Alhaji Appiah Fuseni. I saw him on Parliament on the 7th of January. Honorable, fighting to make sure that we protect the democracy we have in this country. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, Justice.
How are you doing, sir?
My brother.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. You were supposed to be in the constituency today.
Yes, actually.
I will go with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still being held back by one or two things. And I'm sure you are aware.
Your colleagues went to Parliament by 3:30.
In fact, I hear some even got there 1:30 a.m. It's incredible. The things that we are hearing.
Well, I know the
Just
post,
sit on the right.
exactly. I made a post on Facebook this morning, and people are lambasting me. I said, "Welcome to Ghana, where we claim majority by going to Parliament at 1 a.m."
Because I was waking up at 3:30, and then somebody just showed me that, look, people are
There's a second swearing in.
One member of Parliament, I saw a post of one member of Parliament on the side of the MPP, I think Sheila Battels, who indicated that she was in Parliament at 4 a.m. And I was very shocked. Anyway, so let's start business this morning, and I'll start with you, Bernard. Security stepped up as Uganda counts votes. We all know that yesterday they went to the polls. I think voting is still underway, and a lot has been happening.
President Yoweri Museveni is going to steal the mandate of the people of Uganda. But he should be warned that stealing people's mandate is not an easy task. And that when the people decide for change, nothing stops them from obtaining what they desire.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I had the privilege to speak to the front runner, the opposition leader, and I was alarmed at the level of intimidation, the brutalization that is being meted out on him and his family, to the extent that just soon after he had casted his vote, his house was besieged by the military. There were all manner of military, what do we call it, vehicles surrounding his house, virtually preventing him from going any further to even monitor the elections. So at the time we were speaking, it was as if there was a coup d'etat on him, because the people of Uganda are destined for change this election. At the time Yoweri Museveni became president, Bobby Wine was just 4 years or barely 4 years ago. Okay, so Yoweri Museveni has been president. Bobby Wine was just 4 years, and today Bobby Wine has grown to become a matured person and leading a political group. If you take the demography of Uganda, you know that persons below the age of 30 are in excess of 70%. Since they were born, they've not seen anybody apart from Yoweri Museveni. And they have all the time thought that there was something good to come, because their parents will tell them the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Idi Amin, the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Uganda. And they will tell them the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Idi Amin, the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Uganda. And they will tell them the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Idi Amin, the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Uganda. And they will tell them the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Idi Amin, the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Uganda. And they will tell them the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Idi Amin, the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Uganda. And they will tell them the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Idi Amin, the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Uganda. And they will tell them the struggles Yoweri Museveni engaged in when he fought Idi Amin, the stru until Idi Amin was defeated in 1979-80 thereabout. Milton Obote took over, and 1985-86 Yoweri Museveni came with the NRM to come and sweep Milton Obote, and offering the people of Uganda hope. That hope which eventually led to self-empowerment, self-aggrandizement, and eventually I was unlucky in 2010 in the company of the late Kojo Owusu Afriye, that is the NPP General Secretary then, popularly called Sir John, Peter Makmenu, Asiedu Nketia, and some others. We were in Uganda for a conference. In that conference, when Yoweri Museveni came to open to formally welcome us, one of the things that he said that I got so offended, and I wanted to ask a question and they would hold me down not to ask a question, was that he said, look, he came, struggled, fought Idi Amin, fought Milton Obote, and cleared them off. And then he won elections, and people are here talking about democracy, and you want a paper to come and remove him from office. That no paper can remove him from office. He was talking to people who had come to preach democracy and to talk about the power of the ballot and not the power of the gun. And when he finished, he said, look, he is there to support other people who are poor, but that as for his family, in the next 100 years, his children will not know poverty. His generation, his family, his entire family will not know poverty. And so nobody should think that a paper can just clear him out of office. This was in 2010, Alhaji. And so this is a man that doesn't believe that there is any other way to topple him or to get him out of office. And that if you have to do so, you have to come by way of force, by way of guns. And so today, the young people of Uganda say that, look, we don't want to use guns any longer. We don't want to see bloodshed. We want a transformation. We want to exit from the old order to a new order. And that is the reason why there have been all manner of beatings and brutalization in Uganda. I was supposed to be in Uganda.
Okay.
You know, soon after, you know that I was supposed to be in Uganda to support my comrades in their bid. But they themselves came and said, look, as soon as the announcement was made that I will be coming, it appears that they themselves were not safe. Things were getting tighter. And so they advised that we should not come. In fact, some comrades of mine who saw the messages that was being exchanged said, hey, Bernard, we can't. And I said, why? We are coming to support another comrade. And comradeship is permissible. We are not coming to vote, but we are coming to add our voice to the change that is required to leap Africa forward. So from 1986, Yoweri Museveni has been in power. At a point, he himself decided that nobody above 70 years should contest for presidency. Okay? He decided, that is after he had tried to institute a term limit. When he realized that the term limits had come so fast, he decided to wipe away the term limits. So, in the unlikely situation that he is retained as president, this will be his safe term after acquiescing to democracy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 term in office. He would have survived about 7 U.S. presidents. You understand? He would have survived about 7 U.S. presidents. He continues to be in office. Worst of all is that after he put a term limit which he himself wiped off, he went further to put age limit. That at 70, you should not contest for presidency because you'll be too old, your faculties will not be functioning well, you will not be able to deliver what is needed. At the end of the day, he went and wiped off the the age limits too. So he cleared the age limits, and today He is going until thy kingdom come. And when he realized that the young people are saying enough, enough, and the alternative in Uganda has been very piercing in terms of putting up alternative policies for the people of Uganda. Now it is the might of the military that is being used to more or less demoralize and scatter the will of the people. So when votes were done, voting was done yesterday, people are being prevented from going to observe what was voted. So you can't even get to the polling stations to go and see what is happening. And don't forget that yesterday, in some of the polling stations, 2 hours after polls had started, Alaji, no ballots were found there. Officials had to delay because they saw those places as the stronghold of Bobby Wine.
Very well.
And so they delayed. And yet when it was time to close the polls, they did that with some supersonic speed to close so that other people cannot get the chance to come and vote. And one of the things that happened was that, you know, they went assembling these macho men, bodybuilders, boxers and other people who were found in the ghetto and meeting with the army generals and giving them money, wanting them to now go and unleash violence on the young people that were demanding change. So these people said, okay, if you want to buy us, our brute strength, you are not recruiting us into the security agencies. We want permanent jobs. You are coming to give us money so that we can go and brutalize our own. So after they took the money, they decided not to function.
Yeah.
They decided not to function the way they thought they would function. In the course of that, they killed one of the boxers. They shot him. The young people decided, look, if you want to give us one-off money, then it must be huge so that we can go and unleash the kind of violence our government wants us to unleash on our own people. So that is the story of Uganda. And I'm saying that when change is destined, no amount of force will be able to push it away. So Yoweri Museveni should be told that what is happening in Uganda, that it took, and you see, that's why I'm saying that the artists in Ghana, the musicians in Ghana, must make their music relevant. Bobby Wine ascended to the height that he has because of his music. His music was probing, was philosophical, it was dealing with the issues confronting the people of Uganda. So they call him the ghetto president. He got his money out of music. He built for the ghetto, moved the people out of the ghetto, and gave them accommodation free. So the people themselves went and hijacked him and made him to contest to become a member of parliament in central Kampala. And after that, the same people have gone to impress on him to lead them to become president, because his music talks about the problems confronting the society. Just the same way Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and other people identify the problems of our continent and our world, and their music was giving a message. The message that music can give is more potent than any long academic lecture that you can go into any conference hall to go and give. And so Bobby Wine's example, I want to encourage our young people that when you want to sing, don't go and just start singing Shashi Wo Wo. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
There's no sense in it. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, this man is like girls too much. It be what? Shashi Wo Wo. And then this woman or girl likes men too much. It be what? Shashi Wo Wo. Alaji, that song doesn't make sense. But of course, we will jump onto it. So I want to encourage and incentivize our young people that make your songs more relevant so that they will be able to give some messages, and in particular, messages that will connect our souls with the challenges of our society. That is the only way our music can link up with our culture and also lead to the kind of change that we want in our system. So I want to continue to celebrate the young people of Uganda, particularly the alternative pressure group, the civil society organizations that have backed Bobby Wine across the line. And you see, Alhaji, in the course of this, he came face to face with death.
Many times.
Face to face on many times. They tried to paralyze him. They tried to assassinate him. His resolve to sacrifice for the people of Uganda is unquestionable. He's bringing alternative to the table. And it requires the prayers of all of us that at the end of the day, when the people's votes are counted, it must reflect the reality of what transpired when the people went and casted the vote. I pray that Uganda does not descend into the gutters. You know, finally, let me say that you have a very erratic president who, Alhaji, you remember, not long ago, when this issue about gayism came, he was one of the people that jumped onto the roofs. No gay will be allowed in Uganda. The United States called him. Quickly, he went to Parliament to go and change laws to allow gay rights to exist in Uganda. Leaders who don't have the balls to stand are not supposed to lead us.
Exactly.
If you go to Rwanda, where Paul Kagame said that he was banning second-hand clothes, the United States and many other countries decided to take up against him and said, you can kill us, but we will not allow second-hand goods into our country. We also deserve first-hand products. What happened? They fought him, but he stood his grounds. But this is a president who vacillates and panders to the interests of America and others. So anytime the United States of America will back Yoweri Museveni because he is giving out everything of Ugandans to the United States of America. We cannot work for the interests of other people against the interests of our own people. And that must be a call to the people of Africa.
That must be a call to the people of Africa, says Bernard Mona. Now, let me come to you, Honorable.
Uganda. Justice, let me say very good morning to my brother, Comrade Bernard Mona. I'm elated to see him back. It's a pity, like I say, that he's not with us in Parliament. He's one of the finest brains in the country, undoubtedly. Shown an unshakable commitment to the protection of the interests and aspirations of the good people of this country. He's resolved to work for a very sanitized democratic environment and a regime of human rights and fundamental freedoms, for me, has been unquenchable all these years. And I would have loved to have somebody like that in our legislature fighting for the people. But like I say, the Almighty knows best. I have no doubt in my mind that he's a strong character. And he will take it in stride and continue to work. I want to hope and believe that you will not allow that to dim his unquenchable test as a progressive to fight for the rights of the good people of this country.
Yeah.
And notwithstanding the fact that he's not there, I believe that Parliament is not the only place where his expertise, his commitment, and his lifelong struggle can be brought to bear on the good people of this country. I know he will, and at the right time, by the grace of Allah, he will get it. Let me say a good morning to the Bleachina people of the Santaro constituency as usual, to whom I say I owe an irreparable debt of gratitude. And to your good self, Justice, and our technical people here. I share a lot of the things Comrade Bernard Mona has said about Uganda. And to register my disappointment that President Yoweri Museveni, who started as a revolutionary, has metamorphosed, or people will say transmogrified, into one of the budding despots now rearing their ugly heads on the continent of Africa again. people who profess, when they are in opposition, to be Democrats and get to power, and they are more despotic than any other thing you can think of. Grabbing power, and even they are prepared to, as it were, subvert the democratic will of the people in order to continue to cling on to power. In Africa, you can count. Our own examples here are there for us to see. But Justice, I recall when Yoweri Museveni came from the Luwero Triangle, where they fought, I think after Milton Obote and other government apparatchiks that they managed to overthrow and come. In fact, at that time, the clarion call was the masses. I remember his what do you call his? Then if you can remind me, NRA, National Resistance Movement.
Okay.
You know, and the pro-people stance they took to work for the supreme interests of the people and to ensure that the inalienable rights and freedoms of the Ugandan people, which they claim had been trampled upon by the Obote regime and others, were reversed. Justice, so like the first years, Bernard was talking about 6 terms. You are talking about years even before you were graduated into any pretense of any democratic order. And so you are talking about many, many years, decades. And I've always said it that no matter what it is, wisdom doesn't reside in the head of one person. So I believe that at a point, especially when you are in your late 70s and others, your ability to function properly as a citizen is questionable. And so you must begin to look at whether or not you remain as relevant to your country as you were when you first came. And Justice, this election that Bernard talked about, I want to salute the courage of Bobby Wine. In fact, I was listening to a documentary, and virtually all people, almost all those people who were closer to him, a lot of them have been eliminated. Justice. Almost all the people associated with him, killed, some put him incarcerated in prisons and consigned to indignified life just for venturing to assert their democratic rights and freedoms enshrined in the Ugandan constitution. So this is a very, very courageous and committed person. And like he said, this is a man who has used his own money, generated from his own product, sweat and toil, in the service of the Ugandan people, for which the people themselves are more or less the people who are even pushing him forward to take the leadership of the country, because they've seen that sacrifice of example. Justice, there are African leaders who feed fat on the stolen wealth of their people. Many people come to power because they want to come and steal money from the country. Hardly will you see African leaders who are patriots who come, they come poor and end up in fabulous riches and millionaires. Okay? So the examples of the Bobby Wines who use their own money in the service of the masses draws that contrast. Just I'm sure you can see the picture I'm trying to paint. Yeah. You see people who are feeding fat on the state. Okay? People who are feeding fat on the state, using state resources. And people who are using their own monies, generated from their own ingenuity, innovation, sweat and blood, to sacrifice those wealth for the benefit of their people. So you see the contrast. So these are people who are really African patriots. Who are not, you can be sure that people like that, if they maintain their position, when they come to power, they are not coming to milk the state. They are not seeing political office as an avenue to amass wealth. And that is vulgar wealth. So Justice, this is the Africa that we have and the elections that we have in Uganda today, you can already see that the trappings of subversion of the will of the people is already on. Where you cannot even allow people to freely associate. People to freely go on the campaign and campaign for whoever they want. People who are arrested, incarcerated, beaten up, and all these sorts of indignities meted out to them. You can see it. So the issue of free, fair, transparent, and credible elections obviously would be at stake here. And so for me, if you have to grade the process of free, fair elections, like I said, it's a process, it's not an event. So all the other stages where the people are being, their fundamental human rights and freedoms are being impeached upon, the inability to go and campaign freely and ask for the mandate of the people. All those things, justice, have a bearing on whether or not, at the end of this election, the Ugandan poll can be described as free, fair, and transparent. Now we are even in the most critical part of the elections. The counting and collation of votes. Yesterday I heard that the internet was down. And transmission of results has then become a problem. And justice, taking our own system here, as what happened here with the terrible collation of resource, where collation of resource become an avenue for stealing votes, then you are left with the issue of seeing clearly that this is an election that will be stolen, and the mandate and the verdict of the people will be compromised. Uganda is going through almost a similar thing as we hear, because even the process of transmission the results now have become so murky, have become so opaque, that people are not sure that what they voted for at the polling station is what is manifesting at the end, at the national coalition, where the results of the presidential election will be declared. So you go and vote at a polling station, they take it through a regional coalition center, and before it gets to the national level, a different result is being declared. That is a blatant subversion of the will of the people. And so sometimes these bad examples are learned from one African country to another. People go to learn some of those bad examples of where people try to see how they can steal, so that you know that they are perfected the art of stealing across the continent. And in that, they are spelling the death knell of the democratic process. So the call Bobby Wine made yesterday to all Ugandans, that they should stay at the police station after they've voted and not go home. Yes, but like I said, they'll stay at the police station. The results may be declared. But what will be declared at the national level may be completely different from what was declared at the police station. So in as much as they may be able to protect the ballot at the police station, that is if even, because I heard that there was a warning from the regime that people who stayed back will be cleared. They will use the military and the others to clear them. And now that you see the role of military now, even in areas that they are not supposed to play. Military being used in elections. We saw similar examples here, and now even the latest one was even in our parliament, where military was even deployed in our parliament as a taboo subject. Doc is here. I'm sure he himself would agree with me that military have no business being on the floor of parliament. Now, if you are talking about elections, military being deployed to make sure that they scuttle the votes of the opposition, how can democracy function under such a milieu? Because the military is a state institution. They are there to protect the people. The military cannot be an oppressive instrument used to emasculate the people and sit on their democratic rights and freedoms. So I think that if this one continues in Uganda and they use them in the manner that they are being used, I doubt whether anybody can certify this election as free, fair, transparent, and credible. The will of the people would have been subverted at the end. And we will just have a regime that is getting so unpopular in the ranks of the people who continue to stay in power. Not by virtue of the fact that the people willingly returned the regime to power, but because maybe they have used state power, coercive state power, to steal the verdict of the people and continue to be in power. I think that that is a great disservice to the win of democratic dispensations that have swept across the length and breadth of the world, of which Africa must not be an exception. And I think that a system that allows the people to freely express their opinions and views about how governance should be carried out and who should carry out that governance in their country, notwithstanding the flaws, is better than a despotic regime where the whims and caprices of individuals reign supreme.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable, for your submission. We've been joined in the studio by Dr. Fred Amakwasafo, who is a member of the New Patriotic Party National Communications Team. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We are so grateful.
Thank you.
Now,
good morning to Honorable.
Okay.
And my brother, it's been a while. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Safo. And let me pray that for conceding not to become national chairman, you will be appointed minister.
You are not stampeding the president, are you?
No, but you see, Alaji, you know this man. But this man was going for national chairmanship. He was, no, I don't want to say he was forced. He was talked to.
Oh, please, you are not with me.
You know, so much.
You mean that talk, that strong talk?
That's strong talk. Then step down, otherwise you make Freddie Blay not win.
No, didn't happen like
and then
that.
they saw him as...
Oh, no, I didn't know about this.
Yes. No, they saw him as a young man. Yes. Like I said, he wanted to revolutionize the style of leadership in the NPP. And this man was stopped.
Oh, please.
So I hope that...
No, I didn't know you were the one who was stopped.
I hope. Gentlemen.
Thank you.
Security stepped up as Uganda counts votes. The Uganda elections.
Well, I listened to Honorable, and I think that is in Uganda, what is happening there now, the incumbent president is not in any way ready to relinquish power. That's the clear mandate. After being in power for 34 years, it looks like he's overlived his welcome. The intimidation of the wife of the opposition leader is a clear testimony that this is not a country that embraces democracy the way we know. We know it here in Africa. But yes, security will be stepped up. But it is difficult to subvert the will of the people if the people of Uganda really wants a change now. And so the other observer missions, the U.S. embassy says is no more interested to observe the happenings in Uganda. It sends a clear signal of what the current situation, how fluid the current situation in Uganda is. And we here can only wish them the best because we don't have any active role to play. We can wish that we urge that peace and security prevail in Uganda because the African continent have been fraught with a lot of post-election related violence, and it doesn't portend well for our development because before you settle all the dispute that had come after the election, time is also of the essence. So I agree with you that unless we allow smooth transition or smooth voting and counting collation of the process, Africa should be sitting on a time bomb. We should be edgy and urge African leaders should urge the President Museveni to allow their processes to go. So far, I have not been convinced. I'm not convinced that the system is as free and as transparent as we would have loved to. But this is also because on the African continent since between the 80s and the 90s especially, democratic dispensation has been sweeping across the entire African continent. But there are certain pockets, certain countries that do not want to. They are doing it for Uganda. It is clear that they are going through this process just to meet the international standards, just to let the world economy, the world community know that look, we are also going through the democratic processes. But the tenant, the words and the letter of their constitution itself, I'm not sure that it is being followed to the letter, and it calls for concern, it calls for worrying. It is nowhere near Africa and nowhere near Ghana. Honorable was alluding to the fact that yes, something similar had happened in Ghana. This is what is happening in Uganda. It's nowhere near what is happening in Ghana. Well, you did what you did in Parliament to show that, look, we can also stand when we are being intimidated. But in Ghana, nobody can intimidate the wife of the opposition leader who is clearly in lead of, who has a chance to lead the country at this time. So whilst we are at it and condemning or wishing that better things happen in Uganda, comparing it to what has happened here, ours is just a storm in a teacup. I mean, comparatively, we've gone through.
The small one happened.
It's a storm in a teacup. We are nowhere near what is happening there.
I'm happy that you say something happening here is even more
Of course, what happened in Parliament has never happened. We've not seen that before, and the chaos that. And look at our numbers: 137, and yet we are still here. Last week when we came to this set, even though it was the heat of the matter, we tried to find, even made fun of what was going on. I mean, so the tension that would normally have been associated with election in Ghana, we find a way of dousing our fears, and we sit together. Yeah. I'm sure that even after all that had happened, parliamentarians are together and they are talking. There will be tensions here and there, but comparatively, Ghanaians must be proud of how far we have come with our democracy, and 35 years in power. No matter what we said about Jerry Rawlings in the 9 years prior to the 1992 Constitution, no matter how divided the country is, we haven't been close to this. And of course, others also, the likes of Akufo-Addo, J.H. Mensah, J. Kufuor, and the rest of them, Selby, also spoke so vehemently to get us where we are today. So nobody is comparing what is happening in Uganda to what is happening here. Rawlings' 11 years of unconstitutional rule notwithstanding, seeking for democratic governance in this country did not come on a silver platter, but it did. Look, Zimbabwe didn't listen to the world. Mugabe threw caution to the wind and stayed on until he was virtually not capable of ruling. I think that is what Museveni intends to also do. He will stay on no matter what happens. He will stay on until he is no more capable of doing it. I urge the people of Uganda to look at peace more as an important prerequisite in their national development. After who leads this election, who becomes the leader of this election, however the results come, I mean, violence and rife is not panacea to solving the problem that they might have. This man, he's a human being. He's not going to stay on forever. But I wish that at this age, he could have exited calmly to gain the respect and become a statesman in Uganda. But what is happening doesn't show that he's ready to relinquish power peacefully as we all would have wanted.
All right, thank you so much, Doc, for your submission. Viewers, you're still watching Good Morning Africa right here on Pan-African Television. We are live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. You can leave your comments, suggestions, questions, and whatnot over there. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. You can connect with us via WhatsApp to text line on 0260846539, 0260846539. Now, from Uganda, let's come back home and look at this topic. And I'll start with you, Honorable Alhaji Appiah Husseini, on this. MPP NDC lock horns over majority status as Parliament sits today. We've seen pictures circulating on social media where the members of Parliament for the New Patriotic Party are already there. They went there as early as 3:30, 4 o'clock a.m. just so they could occupy the right-hand side of the speaker. Your take on that?
Thank you very much, Justice. I just was trying to refer Doc to listen that people going, I think, for a second swearing in. I hear that even as early as 1 a.m. some people, some of our colleagues on the other side were in the house.
1 a.m.
1 a.m. And I was amazed. Somebody called and told me this. I said, what? 1 a.m. So I almost asked that, have they sent a circular around for another swearing in so that maybe I'm not aware? So that if they have to swear us in again at midnight again, and some of us were not aware.
They say they are taking what rightfully belongs to them.
In the middle of the night. You know, we said that if you go to take something in the middle of the night, they will call you something else. We all know those who operate in the middle of the night when we are all asleep. So something is for you, you wait for all of us to sleep. Then you sneak in the middle of the night to go and take it. Look, if you have it stolen, why do you run in the market? I am amazed that taking what you think is rightly yours should be done at such a very ungodly hour. It's amazing, and I don't know to what extent, but I can understand. I know the flack, especially the leadership of Parliament has had to take after the loss of the speakership. I'm aware that ever since the events leading to the loss of the speakership and the loss of the speakership itself, the leader of the MPP side, the former majority leader, Honorable GMA Sabosu, has been under fire he has never expected would ever come on him. Unprecedented fire.
Did you say former majority leader?
Yes, a former majority.
But they are claiming majority in Parliament.
Anybody can claim anything. Justice, even if you see an aircraft flying and say this aircraft is mine, you can claim it. But is it yours? So after claim, you can claim anything. It doesn't necessarily dovetail into the fact that what we are claiming is rightly your dog ally. So after claiming, you can make a claim. But I think that ever since the Right Honorable Albambagwin won the election, and let me first and foremost make it abundantly clear, because I've heard even attributions being made to the former majority leader, Honorable Chimensa, or Sir Chimensa Bosu, that the speaker was not elected, that it was by consensus. And it is one of the most bizarre statements I've ever heard. Because first and foremost, Justice, before we went for the election of the two deputy speakers, Chairman Saboso, as the leader on the side of the MPP, that is his title for now. He's the leader on the side of the MPP.
Okay.
That, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate you on your election as Speaker. These were his words. I'm quoting him.
Okay.
I want to congratulate you, Doc, on your election to the high office of Speaker of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. So if you are congratulating somebody on his election, and in the next minute, you are speaking outside that he was chosen on consensus, that constitutes nothing but double speak. It's hypocritical. Double standards. You cannot be congratulating somebody on his election and touting this other thing in the public domain that he was chosen by consensus. And all of us know, look, at midnight when we all gathered to be sworn in, and Justice, let me explain that. We went in first. We got in as a group. And we took our rightful seats. Because, Doc.
Did you go there after midnight?
No, you know that we're supposed to be sworn in at midnight. So you have to come before midnight. So rightly so. So that midnight is different from this midnight we are now going now. Unless you tell me that there's a second swearing in. So that first midnight we went under legitimate call from Parliament. We were summoned that all members will endeavor to be in the house before midnight. So we were counselled to be there before midnight. So accordingly, that's what we did. We went there before midnight, in accordance with the call by the clerk of Parliament, who acted as Speaker in the absence of the Speaker, to be sworn in. So that was our legitimate grounds. And we occupied those because we in our belief, number one, like I said, we have done a coalition of all the pictures that we had. And we are convinced that we are in the majority. We have a minimum of 140 seats from per our coalition. Okay? If you add Techima South, you add Zabzugu, you add Sefiurosu, you add Takwan Swai, those ones that the electoral commission did not collate. And Doc, you know, 127, if you read CI 127, section 43 onwards, it indicates clearly that to declare the results of any constituency, you first have to do a collation. That collation gives you an idea of who has won the highest vote, on the basis of which you can do that. So that the highest vote, who has the next, who has the next, who has the next, so that you are aware all the votes are tallied. And you can then declare that on the basis of the votes that we have collated, this person or from this party has had the highest votes. And then you make a declaration. And that when that declaration is done, you furnish parties to the decision with copies.
Wait a minute. Let me remind our viewers that the pictures you're seeing on your screens are the pictures of MPP MPs who occupied the majority side of Parliament as early as 4 o'clock.
As early as 1 a.m.
That as early as 1 a.m. Some of them were there. You could see some of the pictures where they were even sleeping.
I can see you see.
So basically, some of them slept in Parliament today. So the pictures we are seeing are pictures from Parliament, actually, where they occupied the majority side of Parliament as early as 1 and 4 a.m. and all of that. So that's what's on the screen.
They are still in occupation.
Okay. Anyway,
something that belongs to you. You have to go midnight when everybody is asleep.
That's Sylvester Tete.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. So we can go ahead.
Yeah. So like I said, so to us, our political fortunes had been transformed. Look, before the last election, there was a gap of 63. The NPP had 169. We had only 106. So the difference was 63. Like I said, my mathematics or my arithmetic is better than GMA's arithmetic. So from a 63-seat majority, you are struggling now to even get just one seat. To take Ekomi Dakakulo, to take every seat, one seat, which you didn't collate from Techima South, just to give to MPP to get 137. Because knowing that the NDC already has the majority, you should forcibly steal and seize it and give it to the MPP. It's incredible. So Justice, that is how come we went and sat on the right side, believing that our fortunes had been transformed and that we had clearly won the elections and that we deserved to have been where we went. And we sat there. We did not go there midnight when we were not summoned, unlike what is happening today. Very, very incredible things are happening.
But on that day, you were given time to appear in Parliament.
That we should
you went earlier than...
No, they said we should come before midnight. That's what is before midnight.
11 o'clock is before midnight. 9 o'clock is before midnight.
Exactly.
No, actually, they gave...
And we got there...
They asked the MP people to come at
9. We got there...
The NDC should come at 11.
No, we got there just around getting to 10 o'clock. So, Justice, I think that even we didn't even come as early as we should have even come. But we got there just around that time and took our rightful seats. So there was no... And when people were making allegations that we went and sat on, who was supposed to sit at where we sat? Because who is in the majority? There's no majority. And I'm going to come to that shortly.
But you were not in the majority also.
But we are not in the minority also.
So you choose where you want.
Because hitherto we have been in the minority. Ally? And our fortunes have been transformed beyond the minority. So we should go back and sit in the minority where Ghanaians have told us that we are no longer in the minority. We Ghanaians have been gracious enough to elevate you to another stature. We are no longer minority. Then we tell Ghanaians that we are not grateful to what you have done for us. We will go back and sit in the minority. What level of ingratitude would we have shown to the good people of this country? On the contrary, the Ghanaians showed MPP that they had lost the election. And that from 169, they have brought them down. And they have to still sit for them to be able to get to 137. So that was abundantly clear. It should not be a subject for dispute. So first, the Honorable Chief Mensah, and Chief Mensah was the one Honorable Chairman Sabosu, was the one who nominated Right Honorable Speaker Michael Kwe. He nominated Right Honorable Speaker Kwe, seconded by Honorable Afenyo Makins. In fact, he read a very long tribute. I don't even know how to call it. Eulogizing Right Honorable Michael Kwe. In fact, at the point, some people were dozing because it became a very boring tirade. It was almost a monologue. And people saw that, look, this thing, it wasn't worship. Because there were some things that were saying really on the floor. We have all been on the floor. And we have known how Right Honorable Michael Kwe has functioned in the House. But be that as it may, he nominated the candidate. Our leader, for the majority leader, with the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, nominated the Right Honorable Alban Bagbi. And it was, he didn't have to read all the things because Bagbi is a household word in Parliament. Not only is he the longest serving member of Parliament in the history of Ghana. I'm not even studying the history of the Fourth Republic, in the history of Ghana. He is. And then also, he's a store of knowledge, wisdom, expertise in the House. There have been times when we are stuck. We've had to rely on him to extricate us. So clearly, between the two candidates, he was street ahead of Right Honorable Michael Kwe. And so no wonder he was attractive enough to even MPP people that some of them, in fact, more of them would have voted for the decision. But for the kangaroo monitoring that they were doing, that the chairman ruled that we should vote by secret ballot. You will go and vote and then show it to the Dompe, who is the chief whip of the MPP, was standing closer to where the ballot was being cast, so that when you vote, then you tilt your decision in a manner that he could see how you were voting. Then we said no. We drew the attention of the chairman of the occasion, who happened to be the clerk to Parliament. Attention that they were violating the rules and the regulations that he had read. That the Constitution says that when you are electing the speaker, it should be strictly by secret ballot. So they will no longer be in the tenets of secret ballot, because when you vote and you show it to somebody, it is no longer secret ballot. So we are not going to allow that to happen if it continued. And I'm sure they underestimated our resolve. And so we made sure that anytime they refused to heed and we drew the speaker's attention and he didn't act, we acted. Sure. When a thief is carrying your thing away, you don't wait for a policeman to come for you to rescue your property from the thief. You stop him. You take steps to stop him. And when the policeman comes, you come and act to you and you arrest him. Don't you have citizens arrest?
Exactly.
We have citizens arrest. So we were effective citizens arrest. Yes. To make sure that the illegalities we were perpetrating will be stopped. After duly complaining to the clerk and nothing was being done, we had to ensure that something was done to stop it. So that is how come. So we were enforcing the law and you were breaking the law. That is the difference between the two. So justice. This is what happened. And so there was a clear election. Let me say, look, at the end of the voting, the ballot box was emptied. When the ballot box was emptied, you had two agents. Another Pre was the agent for the
Professor Michael Kwe
and Mutaka. Honorable Mutaka was the agent for
Right Honorable
Bagbi. So the contents of the ballot box were emptied. Then they did the sorting out. So somebody was standing. He was taking Right Honorable Okwe's vote. Another person was standing. He was taking Honorable Bagbi. So they sorted out. They did all the sorting. All the 275 members of Parliament voted. So they did the sorting. So Honorable Okwe had his pile. Honorable Bagbi had his pile. And in the middle was one spoiled ballot. So they put that one spoiled ballot. So there were three piles. One for Honorable Okwe, one for spoiled ballot, one for Right Honorable Bagbi. And so they started, Right Honorable Michael Kwe was the first on the ballot. So they started and counted his distance. They counted 136. Then recorded the one spoiled ballot. If you add it, you get what? At least we are better than GMA. 137. If you add it, that gives you 137. So it presupposes that the last pile that was there, if you take 137 from 275, what will you get? 138. Ally. As for that one, I'm saying our mass is better than. So they have started counting the 138 when with Olympic record-breaking speed. And in fact, let me take judicious notice. The video is now abound there. You saw Carlos Ehinkwa, who went with that Olympic speed to snatch the ballots. He was having a discussion with Honorable Chairman Sabosu. Okay? They were having a discussion. And then the first deputy chief whip, member of parliament for Toron, Habib was standing with them. Then soon as Chairman Sabosu finished the discussion, he used his hand, Chairman Sabosu, used his hand to push Habib away. He tapped Habib like this and told him to move away. And then this man just bumped from, as soon as Habib moved away, pang, with speed, like a hawk. Pam, ballot paper. And Mutaka gave him a chase of his life.
That was a Zongo chase.
Yes, not only Zongo chase, in fact, Tamasco chase. He was a sprinter in Tamasco. Caught up with him.
But he was not a Tamakulian.
Yes. You see, and I mean, we had known, it's a matter of record. In the last election, there were MPP foot soldiers and others who were snatching ballot papers. Justice. So we were associated that with foot soldiers and others. The MPP has now graduated with their MPs graduating to become ballot paper snatchers. It's incredible. The biggest disgrace ever on the floor of the house. And you know what, Justice? When they even caught him, he put some of the ballot paper in his mouth. He became a goat. Attempting to chew ballot paper. So even there is the knocks that brought some of the ballot paper from his mouth. Yes. Go to chewing paper. Incredible. He was attempting to chew the ballot papers. They had to rescue it by knocking and bringing it from his mouth. And so it was rescued. And declared the records were there. So Honorable Babin was elected out of a competitive race. There was no consensus. You see, where there was consensus, and I thought that one, that is what he should have said, was after that, they came and approached the majority. They came to us and said that, look, in view of the election that had gone for consensus and for the House to work, they were asking
Which
for the
side are you referring to as the majority?
We won the race, so we are in the majority. So they came and said that they wanted us to have some consensus so that we will concede the first deputy speaker to Honorable Joe Wise. We had no difficulty. But they came back again. Apparently unknown to us, they are going to promise the independent candidate that they will give him the second deputy speaker. Your chickens have not hatched from the eggs and you are counting them. So when the man said, so now you are leaving me in the lurch, because the second deputy speaker, if NDC people want to go and take it again, then I will get it. And if I don't get it, the cooperation that I say I will have with you, I will withdraw it. Hey, wahala come for us.
Did the man say that to them?
Yes. From very privileged information that we have. Okay. We are colleagues in the house, so we know what goes on. So they had to come back again and ask for, and plead. In fact, they pleaded with our leaders that they should try and accord them the second deputy speaker so that they can give it to the independent candidate. That's what transpired. So if there was consensus, that is where that consensus came.
All right, Honorable.
Not in the other. But now let me go to the issue of the speaker. You see, Justice, the NPP is claiming that they have majority. I have told you that from our coalition, if you ask them on their coalition, their highest they have is 137. That is their coalition. But our coalition, we have more than about 140 or 141. Okay? So we clearly, unofficially, we have the majority. But we are saying that officially, what the letter commission has sent, gazetted, and brought before the speaker is 137 for MPP, 137 for NDC,
exactly,
1 independent. Justice, Parliament is recognized by groups, not caucus. The standing orders of the House does not recognize caucus. And Doc, you can bear me out or find out. Caucuses are not recognized by the standing orders of the House or by the Constitution. There are voluntary arrangements you make for your workings in the house.
But I was listening to Honorable Joe Gate this morning on a sister station. He also says otherwise, that, well, Parliament is recognized by caucus.
Not Parliament is recognized by parties.
Not
groups.
parties.
No,
and
parties.
So
you are elected on the ticket of party. It is the parties that are recognized. It is the strength of the parties that are recognized as clearly identifiable groups within Parliament, not caucuses. You should show me which standing order of the House. Did he read any standing order? Did he quote any standing order?
That was the point he sought to advance to claim.
Yes.
That when it comes to caucus,
you should show us.
Then they are more than the NDC.
No.
And for that reason, they are
because that's a caucus is a voluntary
arrangement
arrangement that you make. It is not reinforced by the standing orders of the House or the Constitution or in it. If you say they are there, quote the standing order, let me hear it. It is not there. Okay? So you can enter into your voluntary arrangement with somebody and says you support you. That's a different matter. But where the parties stand, and that's why I told you that the electoral commission, on the day Mr. Speaker was sworn in, they sent all the distance and they identified 3 clear groups in Parliament. The NDC group 137, MPP group 137, independent candidate 1. So those are the 3 identifiable groups. And nobody can argue about that. Now, for you to argue that the independent candidate has added another number to the MPP, you can only say that when he has crossed carpet and joined the MPP. When he has abandoned his status as an independent candidate and has now taken on the mantle. That is not what I understood. In the letter that he is purported to have written to Mr. Speaker, he indicated that he was prepared to do business with the MPP.
For purposes of transaction.
Transacting business on the floor.
Yeah.
People should not confuse that. Doing business with you is not synonymous with joining hands with you and being a member of your party. Okay? You cannot. And I will quote the Constitution, Justice. I will quote sections of the Constitution to support my argument. That if he abandoned his stature as an independent man, he ceases to be a member of the House. If today, for instance, that Honorable Amaku, SMA says that he is no longer an independent member of Parliament, he's joining the MPP, he ceases to be a member of Parliament. Even the one seat that they say they will get in addition, he will be out of the House. He can't be there to join them. Justice. The Constitution.
Okay. Can you wrap up on the Constitution for me?
Yes. You see, the Constitution in Article 97, 1H, says that a member of Parliament ceases to be a member of Parliament. And there are all sorts of long ones, but for the purposes of the independent candidate, I'll just quote Section H, 97, 1H.
Okay.
Talks of the independent man that if he was elected as an independent member of Parliament, he ceases to be an independent member of Parliament if he was elected a member of Parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party. Unquote. So this is about the independent member of Parliament.
Okay.
That if he was elected a member of Parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party, this is the Constitution of the Republic. Okay? So if he makes it clear that he has joined the MPP, he's out of Parliament. So MPP will even get that additional seat to even add and make 138. Okay? And if he also says he's doing business with them, he has not joined them. So he cannot be one another additional. So whichever way you look at it, whether he's doing business or he's joining them,
okay,
whichever case, they won't get the one to add to make 138.
Okay.
Now listen to this one too.
You need to step down so I can go to the other.
I'm just ending. Justice. The second one, which makes his position incongruous. You know he has been elected a second deputy speaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Now listen to the Constitution. This is Article 96. Yes. This is C. It says that there shall be 2 deputy speakers of Parliament. This is 96. I'm reading Article 96.
Yeah.
The heading is deputy speakers. And I'll give it to Doc to look, maybe in case he wants to be sure. It says there shall be 2 deputy speakers of Parliament. A, who shall be elected by members of parliament from among the members of parliament. Okay? And B, both of whom shall not be members of the same political party. I repeat, both of whom shall not be members of the same political party. So, Justice, if today Honorable Asema says that he is also a member of the MPP, he ceases to be a deputy speaker because already Honorable Joseph Osewusu, member of parliament for Bakwai, and first deputy speaker, is a member of the MPP. Ally, Doc, Joe Wise. Yes. He's a member of the MPP, and he has already been elected first deputy speaker. So if Honorable Asema also goes to join MPP and is also elected deputy speaker, it means both deputy speakers are members of the MPP. Okay. This is in flagrant violation of the Constitution of the Republic. And the Constitution is the supreme law.
Nothing like that had happened.
Okay. So if nothing like that has happened, so he's not a member of the MPP.
He didn't say he was a member.
So if he's not a member of the MPP, hasn't got any additional seat to add to them to make them 138.
Okay.
On the basis of which he can claim a majority. So when did the MPP get the one person to add to become the majority? How did they become the majority?
So
that they are occupying majority side
exactly.
of parliament.
Okay. So no wonder they themselves they are convinced after making that double argument that they are majority. They have to go at 1 a.m.
Let's see the pictures once again.
They have to go to parliament at 1 a.m. to go and occupy the seat. Okay. If you are convinced that you are the majority, do go to parliament at 1 a.m.
All right, Honorable. Thank you so much for your submission. Viewers, you're still watching Good Morning Africa right here on Pan-African Television. Keep your messages coming in on 0266.
How do you steal something that
0260846539? No.
Well, at one point we were told that if you see a plane going up, you can claim that it is yours. So
but it doesn't mean it belongs to you.
Yeah. So I think that our constitution and our electoral processes are clear. It is the Electoral Commission that is the referee. And so we all respond to what the Electoral Commission says.
Okay.
As at now, what has been gazetted is that there are 137 with one independent candidate, independent member of parliament. So they claim that there is a majority leader who says that, look, we are the majority, or a minority, and then you are the minority. It's a claim that we can go on and on and on and on. What is clear is that a member, the independent member of parliament, has written to the speaker saying that I will do business with the MPP.
Does that make the MPP majority?
If it is a working majority, MPP have a working majority.
The standing order and the constitution on who forms majority in parliament.
If you form majority, it is the numbers that forms majority. So clearly there is no majority in
numbers of who? Of what?
The numbers of the political parties in parliament.
Okay. Now we have NDC and PP having 137 each with an independent candidate.
Yes.
Who can claim majority in parliament with these numbers that we have?
You cannot claim majority in parliament because there's one MP who says that this is where I will go. So at each point in time, all things being equal, if there's anything on the floor of parliament, you are sure of getting your 138. You are sure. The fact that you are sure doesn't mean you will get it. When we're going to elect the speaker, we were sure. But we were sure that we were sure. But if you are sure of something, it doesn't mean that it's a given. Sure. It's not a given because people it's a secret. If it's a secret ballot, then you cannot know who is going to vote for this person or that person. But be it that is may, we have no majority, clear majority in parliament. And so for the NDC to also claim that, you are saying that NPP cannot claim majority, but you can claim majority.
Why are you also claiming majority?
You can also claim majority. You understand? So if you think that
numbers are same,
if you think that the numbers are the same, and so the NPP cannot claim majority, on what grounds are you saying that you have the majority, and then move in to go and sit on the majority side? Because the people of Ghana, if they wanted to give you majority, clear majority, they would have given you. They would have given you the majority. The people of Ghana says that have 137, so there's no majority. So if you want to make the argument that you are majority, it doesn't wash because it means that you are approbating and reprobating at the same time, and which is not. I for claim and being convinced that numbers are not about being convinced. Numbers are not conviction.
But look, the question people would want me to ask you is that what informed the decision of the New Patriotic Party members of Parliament, knowing very well that there's no party in Parliament that has clear majority, to go to Parliament as early as 4 a.m. to go and occupy the right-hand side of the Speaker?
Well, I think that...
there's a saying that better than the Honourable was saying that even as early as 1 a.m. they were in Parliament to occupy those seats.
When are you supposed to go to Parliament?
The figures are clear.
When are you supposed to go to Parliament? So when are you supposed to go? Anytime before 10 a.m. you can. Anytime before 10 a.m. you can go to Parliament.
I've never seen anybody go to prayer 4 a.m.
anytime. I've just seen some. Why? It should not be a shock.
Until today.
They went to Parliament to take the seat of the majority in Parliament. For me, I heard the NDC leader in Parliament say that the NDC is ready to sit on the minority side, but you don't want to be stampeded. You don't want to be taken by surprise again. You don't want to be taken by surprise again. So yes, you go earlier and occupy the seat. If this arrangement have been made, I'm sure that there have been backroom and leadership negotiations as to how and where who should sit. And if this arrangement has been agreed upon, then yes, the MPP is sitting on the majority side, and DC will sit on the left side of the Speaker. So at each point in time, when Parliament is sitting and there's a vote, you have the independent candidate saying that I will vote along with NDC. I will work with the NDC. It doesn't make the MPP. It doesn't make the independent candidate a member of MPP. We know very well, and he himself knows very well, that any attempt to be a member of MPP at this stage would mean that you should relinquish your position and probably go for a by-election.
But Doc, Honourable explains something. He says majority is formed in Parliament by parties, not caucuses. Now, your party has 137 MPs. For the mere fact that the independent candidate has written to the Speaker of Parliament saying that for the purposes of transacting business, he will do business with the MPP, it doesn't make the MPP a majority. How are we able to get majority leader, deputy majority leader, minority leader, deputy minority leader?
I think that this discussion has gone on. What I know is that as at now, the leadership of both MPP and NDC have met, they have agreed that for the purpose of working, because there's only majority or minority in Parliament. This is, maybe we have to look at the standing orders again. If you're talking about majority and minority, then there's no one. We must fit this position in one area or the other. You must either be a majority or you must be a minority. As we speak, there is no majority, there is no minority. There are equal numbers in Parliament. The majority and minority is not about my conviction or my thoughts or my belief system. It is what the numbers are saying. As we speak, the numbers are saying that we have equal representation of parliamentarians for MPP and NDC. So, to the letter of it, there is no majority, there is no minority. But then you have to sit somewhere in the Chamber of Parliament. The arrangements are so made that majority should sit here, minority should sit here. The leadership of these two parties have agreed that yes, you are in government, you will be bringing the policies to government. Yes, there's an independent candidate that has agreed that he will work with you. So with all intents and purposes, it goes without saying that, okay, then let's have the majority for the MPP. It doesn't mean that by numbers, MPP is majority as we speak now. But if that is what the arrangement is made, because we don't have any other demarcations of people sitting, it has to be this or that. Otherwise, we have to leave the majority or majority terminologies at this stage. That today we don't have majority or minority. Wherever you sit, it is equal representation in Parliament. So that terminology has to be looked at again. Though the framers of the standing orders may not have envisaged that a time may come that if both parties have the same equal representation in Parliament, what we do? We have 275 parliamentarians, meaning that because of the odd numbers, if it hadn't been an independent candidate, the likelihood that at least there will be a slight one going the other way would suffice. But now, from where I sit, there are no majority, there are no minority. But your arrangement says that this right hand side of the speaker is majority, the left hand side of the speaker is minority. Probably this nomenclature should be looked at again.
Don't you think that the argument should be raised beyond where parliamentarians sit to election of, or should I say, how we elect our leaders? Because the government of the day would need to transact business through parliament, through the majority leader in parliament. And we don't have a clear majority. How do we get the leadership of
yes, so that is what brings back the issue that the framers of the standing orders should have to go back to the table. And this is the first time it had happened. But as we go and Ghanaians become more sophisticated and would vote according to along this pattern, we have to now look at these terminologies in parliament again. A time has come that there is no majority, there is no minority. Anybody that wants to move, an independent candidate that wants to move to another side, the constitution is also against it. That if you move, you lose your seat. If you move, you are no more a deputy speaker. So if we look at these issues that are coming up, we have to find a way of addressing ourselves. People must sit in groups so that they can discuss things among themselves. Otherwise, then you represent a constituency. In parliament, you go to parliament representing a constituency. We know that it is a party that sent you, but it is a constituency you are representing. When you are representing the constituency, you are not representing the party. You are representing everybody in the constituency, be it MPP, NDC, CPP. You are representing the constituency. So probably in parliament, we should be looking at this arrangement again, because this minority majority cannot suffice in this parliament. But the leadership have agreed that for the purpose of transacting business, though the numbers don't show clearly who is a minority or who is a majority, let us agree that the NPP will sit at the right hand side of the speaker and the NDC will sit at the left hand side of the speaker. Because when we are bringing business to the house, always the government bringing business to the house, it has always been a norm that the government side of the house always sit at the right hand side. Not because it is the function, but because numbers have always shown that governments in power always have had the majority in parliament. But seriously, we need to look at that terminologies about majority or minority or who sits here. If you're sitting at the majority side and your numbers are not majority, it is still doesn't add up, because it is numbers you are talking about, not what our hunch says or not what our conviction or our belief system is saying that. So a former majority leader is still the majority leader now, unless what I read from the news about Honorable Haruna saying that we don't have any problem. We don't have any problem sitting at the minority side.
The fact that they are sitting at the minority side doesn't make them minority.
The figures don't show who is minority. There's no minority and majority.
But why would you declare Honorable Oseichi Mensah majority leader because he is sitting at the right hand side?
Because the leadership of the House, both MPP leaders and NDC leaders, have agreed that they would give the majority terminology to the MPP. Unless that is not true.
When was that agreed upon?
At best, Doc, to help you out here, Honorable Chairman Samuso can only be a leader of government business.
He's a leader of government business.
So that, but it's not the majority leader of the House.
We cannot have majority leader then.
Yes,
we cannot have
majority leader.
We cannot.
So you can take him that he's a leader. You transact business on behalf of government.
And you cannot. We cannot have a majority leader to NDC.
You can say so.
We cannot have majority leader.
You don't have a majority, so nobody's majority.
So the argument that the submission I made earlier is that this majority minority nomenclature should be looked at again.
It should be looked at.
Leader of MPP caucus in parliament, leader of NDC caucus in parliament, and let's continue to do the business, because this majority minority is this
is really creating a lot of it.
It's not getting us anywhere, because if you claim that you are a majority leader, you mentioned several times referring to Haruna as the majority leader. Yeah, on this set, how could it be a waiting? Which numbers are you getting?
Maybe there are cases in court.
We have told you that we our own estimate.
But you know the number.
It only happened in areas where the votes were not collated and the results declared. But all the others, yours, they were declared.
But the fact that the presidential election has been collated and have been declared, you still have issues with it.
Yes.
So the fact that something has been collated doesn't leave away. So if somebody is not qualified, he owes double allegiance. He owes double allegiance. He owes an allegiance to another country. You read the constitution.
Those remain allegations until maybe the court proves.
Of course, yes. But it is the court that will go through the process to find out whether or not he owes another allegiance. Yeah, exactly. We've not seen another member of parliament. The lady is also holding an.
Since those ones are in
contest the figures, not
which figures. Since those ones,
we can't even contest. We can't contest the figures. We can't contest the figures when the person is not qualified.
Disqualified.
The person is not qualified. If you don't have to own allegiance, you don't have to own allegiance to another country, and you do, then you are not even qualified to contest in the first place. So the numbers you have is not constitutional. So you need to be taken off. So when we have also gone through the court system, we also have seat that we are contesting. If we finish the contesting, we also would have majority, and then this majority minority will not be an issue again. But for now, what has been gazetted is why we are in parliament today, and that is clearly showing that there are no majority or minority. So these terminologies should be relegated to the background for now and refer to political parties in parliament and the numbers that they have garnered.
Well, thank you so much, Doc, for your submission. I'm so grateful. Bernard, NDC and FPP are locking horns over who forms majority or minority in parliament. From where you sit, what's your...
When I sit here as MP non-elect, and you're asking me to discuss matters of MPs, it's not pleasing to discuss, first and foremost. But let me say from the outset that if you were doubting that Ghana was near Uganda, I am a personal victim of the assassination of free speech in our country. When I spoke about the dangers inherent in the Electoral Commission compiling a new voters register, see what the police did. When we were just walking, the police came in such brazen style, as if they had gone to arrest the notorious drug baron. They did. A few days ago, I was lucky to be watching United Television, which we call the UTV. And one artist manager, I don't know him well.
Bulldog.
Yeah. Made a statement that President Akufo-Addo will not finish his second term and that he will run away. He will run away if he doesn't pay men's gold customers. The police, in some speed, will go and pick this young man for saying that customers of men's gold, you collapsed the company. You did not allow them to get their money. The company was paying them as promised them. You collapsed the company and denied them their investment. And that you will not survive if you don't pay men's gold customers. You run away. And then you go and pick the young man. As if by picking him, he has not said it. He has said that you run away, pay us. Because if you don't pay us, we are going to agitate. We are going to put up the spirited performance to ensure that, look, we too, we get to eat and to take care of our families and our children to go to school. And you have gone to pick the man. And I'm told that you are saying that the man should...
Would you add that he will not finish his term?
Oh yes, he said, you will run away. Because why will you run away? Because we will put pressure on you that if you don't pay us, you run away. If you run away, have you finished your term?
I just want to be clear whether he...
Yes, he says so. I listened to it. I listened to it. He said, you run away. If you don't pay,
now we know Moff is not gone. We have criminal libel law, and you said it was over your dead body that you will declare it.
Say you have abolished it.
Yes, it's been abolished. Please allow
tell this young man.
please allow
me to make it.
It was very quiet when we were making yours.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
I know where he's going.
You don't want to learn.
I know where you are going.
I'm going to Sakana. You know, so obviously,
it is not near Uganda.
this regime
Be proud of yourself.
has been assassinating and continue to assassinate free speech. Tormenting anybody that speaks your mind. Whichever. I know you will be a good minister, so I just pray that they appoint you. They should not do what they have done to you.
Look, I you. You are the one lobbying for me.
I wish I had power to lobby for you. I wish I had the power to lobby for you. No, I wish I had power to lobby for you. I would have done so. Unfortunately, if I start lobbying for you, you know that you will not get the position.
No, I don't want you to be lobbying for me.
What is this issue in Parliament? That MPs can, in fact, refuse to sleep. They left their families and chose to go and be in Parliament.
They are sleeping here. Can't you see it?
Well, this is not a
Please, kindly flash the videos for us a bit. We have the videos on. We have the pictures. Sorry, we have the pictures with the producers. So they should try. And okay, so they are flashing the pictures over there.
You understand? They refuse to sleep at home and choose Parliament House as their beds. That is where they decide to find comfort. They left their families and what have you to be able to occupy seats.
So as you can see, they are sleeping.
I wish that the NDC members can cause what we call takashi. When you go to Parliament, go and sit on their laps. Because you also want to sit there. So if there is one seat, go and sit there. The fact that you have gone early and sat on the seat does not mean that you have the authority. You look for Osla and sit on here.
Alad, you didn't say that.
Did I say Alad? You said that.
He's the only member of Parliament here.
There are many other ladies and women in Parliament that Alaji can sit on their laps. Why Osla? Because
you have mentioned Osla here. I haven't mentioned Osla here. You have mentioned.
You understand? So if you want to cause takashi, you go and also sit. And then we'll see whether those seats can be occupied. The fact that you have run to go and sit in that part does not give you right to be there. And so let's stop behaving like children. We are not kids. We are not kids. This is a serious house.
Oh, really?
The August House of Parliament. This is a serious place.
People were carrying ballot boxes up and down.
Exactly, and that is why prosecution should take place. You know what it means to snatch a ballot box.
Okay.
You know that. Okay. You know that under the electoral laws.
So those who carried ballot boxes.
I say under the electoral laws of Ghana, it's criminal.
Honorable Muntaka carried ballot boxes. What did he do?
Can I?
Please allow Bernard, Honorable, and Doc, respectfully, allow Bernard to make his submission.
Exactly. Tell them. Anybody that interferes with the election processes has committed an offense. And therefore, this thing should not just be washed away. Because what we have shown to our kids and the young ones is that why, even in Parliament House, people who are supposed to make laws, or people who have made the laws for us to govern us,
are kicking ballot boxes.
They can kick ballot boxes, they can take ballot papers, they can chew them like ruminants.
Like goat.
All that,
ballot papers.
Everything. So those things should be prosecutable, not bulldog. You don't go and say you are prosecuting Bulldog for saying that if you don't pay men's gold customers, you run away. You will not finish your term. Then Parliament, where they are stealing ballot boxes, denying people their right of franchise. We are there. We are just taking it as we are kids. That cannot be a kids' play. So, for me, I think that what is happening in Parliament is a very serious one. But you know,
why is
his constituents rejected the MPP. He was an MPP MP. By some machinations, he could not go to file on the ticket of the MPP. He chose to become an independent candidate. In so doing, the MPP wrote and said that they have dismissed him from the party and sent a letter to the Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament dismissed and sacked that MP from Parliament. That's why you belong to a political party. The political party has sacked you. So you are no more on the ticket of the party. So they virtually humiliated him out of Parliament. He went to his constituents. The MPP filed a candidate. President Nana Akufo-Addo went there and said that the guy was so disrespectful and that he called him and the guy declined to come. And so he will not work with the guy. They should vote for the MPP candidate. The people rejected the MPP and their candidate and voted for you. They voted for you because they thought that you have something in you that they believe in. For you to betray the constituents in the manner you have done, it's unthinkable. It's a dent on the right-thinking constituents who says that go and represent us, MPP or no MPP. We want you because we believe in your capacity. Today, you have gone and you are auctioning your conscience. And listen, it said for the purposes of transact the fortunes of your constituents. But you sit with the MPP or you vote for the MPP. You know, when our leaders act this way, you don't know what to say again. Because I would think that going to Parliament, you are going to look at issues and see what is right and what is wrong. And put the best before your constituents. You put your heart to do the best for your constituents. Not because a political party decides that, look, we are going to do this. Whether that is conscionable or not, you go and follow it. What kind of leaders are we creating?
I'm not sure that's what he said.
For the purposes of transacting business.
Yes.
You will vote with the MPP.
Yes, I will do business with the MPP.
So when the MPP is doing cocaine business, you go and do business with them.
We are looking at legal business. We are looking at legal business.
So if they decide that they will legalize cocaine,
if something is legalized, it is legalized. It is no more an illegal thing. Anything that you legalize is no more illegal.
No, can you allow him? I beg you.
No, for instance, Galamsey.
Why are you animating this morning?
No, I'm coming.
Why are you?
Honorable, I would want Bernard to finish, so we wrap up because
I don't know that it is my turn.
But MPP, you are doing Galamsey. You say party Yasika.
Honorable,
MPP is not doing Galamsey. MPP is not doing
can you go ahead?
I cannot go ahead when there is
Honorable and Doc, respectfully, our time is up. I want Bernard to land so that we go.
So for me, persons who go to Parliament on behalf of our people must use our conscience in a manner that the constituents want us to use. This way, all the integrity, the aura around the independence candidate, the right-thinking people of his constituency, who decided to say that we don't care about political party, but we care about your personality and the promises and the issues that you have brought. Go to Parliament and represent us. You have auctioned them and saying that you will sit. Okay, by sitting with the MPP, it means that if there is going to vote, today the MPP has majority. But you know, it's probably only today. Because from today, President Akufo-Addo is going to start announcing a list of appointees.
Yeah.
Not so. By our laws, majority of his appointees, particularly ministers and deputy ministers, must come from Parliament. So if Akufo-Addo, for instance, want to appoint 20 ministers. You understand? If he wants to appoint 30, it means that 16 must come from Parliament.
This man with a penchant for appointing.
So if he wants to appoint 200 this time round,
he has been once a president, so he cannot be penchant.
if he wants to appoint 200, it means 1/0 from Parliament. And when you are appointed, your availability to parliamentary duties is wobbly, because you can't be performing ministerial jobs and then always be in Parliament. So on most occasions, on most occasions, the MPP and their side will be in the minority when it comes to voting on issues. Have you noticed that? In other words, when there is going to be a vote of a significant manner, and the Speaker of Parliament, don't forget that that office mostly travels, and the Speaker of Parliament is not there, whether you, the independent candidate, you are sitting with the MPP or not, they will be in the minority, even if they decide to bring all their ministers to come and sit in Parliament. Because the first deputy speaker is a member of Parliament. As soon as you sit as speaker, you lose your right to vote.